General Hospital spoilers tease that the still unsolved arson at Sonny Corinthos's penthouse is far more than a crime scene. It is a crucible where alliances fracture, ambitions ignite, and buried resentments erupt like the inferno that consumed those luxury walls. While investigators have chased down leads implicating everyone from a scorned journalist to a betrayed friend, none have yet cracked the case wide open. Recent murmurs suggest that Jen Sidwell's vengeance, Jack Brennan's simmering anger, Drew Cain's relentless ambition, and even Jason Morgan's shadowy loyalties all converge around the night the Corinthos empire nearly collapsed. As the embers cool, Port Charles braces for revelations that will upend loyalties, shatter facades, and leave no soul untouched. Under the cloak of twilight, the penthouse stood as a trophy of Sonny's power. Floor-to-ceiling windows looking out over the city, imported silk drapery swaying in a gentle breeze, and precious heirlooms lining polished marble mantelpieces. Yet on that fateful evening, a single spark transformed comfort into chaos. Neighbors first heard the shattering blast, a sound like a cannon in the night, and saw orange tongues rushing skyward. Within seconds, firefighters and police had converged, sirens dying against the roar of flame. Amid the smoke, two figures emerged, Michael Corinthos, thrown to the floor by the shockwave and bearing severe burns, and a silhouette retreating into the shadows, unseen by all. Port Charles's rumor mill went into overdrive. At the Savoy Grill, whispers swirled that Jen Sidwell's acrid op-eds had finally provoked the righteous fury of Sonny himself. Only days earlier, she had leaked details about his offshore holdings, prompting public outrage. Friends of Jen's recalled her vow that evening. She would take down the habitat of the man who humiliated me. The irony of her knowledge, every hallway shortcut, every security camera blind spot, made her an intuitive suspect. Yet as detectives pored over phone records, they found Jen's had been miles away, filming the aftermath of a drug bust for her next exposé when the alarms went off. Others found their eyes drawn to Jack Brennan, whose lifelong loyalty to Sonny had recently soured. Jack's skill set, meticulous planning from his years in special operations, could explain the precise placement of incendiary charges. Colleagues at the Quartermain mansion remembered Jack's tense phone call to an unlisted number, his voice low enough that only fragments reached a hidden microphone. They'll see what happens when trust is shattered. Yet Jack maintained that he had been at the docks negotiating a furniture restoration contract that night, a claim backed by shipping logs and a witness's testimony. The more the investigation unfolded, the more the trail grew cold. Amid these familiar faces, another name emerged with a chill of possibility: Drew Cain. His public pursuit of Willow Corinthos, Michael's devoted wife, had become brazen, and legal insiders claimed he dreamed of prying Michael away from his own children. A court filing discovered in leaked files hinted at Drew's intention to petition for full custody should Michael's reputation be irrevocably damaged. For Drew, the fire offered a dual opportunity: maim Michael, casting doubt on his ability as a father, while projecting himself as the savior ready to pick up the pieces. Detectives uncovered a series of late-night calls from Drew's burner phone to an anonymous number, each call lasting precisely 6 minutes, enough time, they speculated, to coordinate the delivery of an accelerant. Yet none could have foreseen the shock of an even darker twist: Jason Morgan, the unshakable enforcer who once vowed to protect Sonny at all costs, whispered to have been the architect of the blaze. Conceived as a secret bid for power, Jason's plan allegedly involved planting a time-delay bomb in the penthouse's HVAC system, ensuring the explosion would occur after Sonny and Michael had returned home, eliminating both at once. A lone security guard's statement, previously dismissed as mistaken, suddenly gained weight when cross-referenced with surveillance. A hooded figure matching Jason's build moved through the service corridors moments before the ignition. Though Jason's official alibi placed him at Kelly's diner, recounted by patrons who claimed to see him nursing a coffee, detectives uncovered a window of unaccounted time, and a memory of a single, curious scratch on his hand that vanished hours later. Across the city, alliances shifted like sand. Sonny, recovering in the hospital from second-degree burns, sat in his private suite, grips white-knuckled on the bed rail, as his consigliere updated him on each lead. His glare, as sharp as any blade, swept over charts and timelines. If Jens, Jack, or Drew had the guts, they'd be in a cell, he muttered through clenched teeth. this was personal. Yet under that confidence twined a thread of doubt. Could the man who once called Jason his best friend truly have turned on him? Meanwhile, in a quiet loft overlooking the waterfront, Drew Kane stared at a grainy printout of a supposed security camera, a bead of sweat sliding down his temple. His pulse raced not from fear of discovery, but from exhilaration at how close he'd come to fulfilling his ambition. The file in his lap detailed Michael's schedule for that night, replete with every expected entry and exit. All it would take is a single diversion, an orchestrated emergency on another floor, to lure Michael away, leaving the penthouse vulnerable. Drew's lips curved into a confident smirk. He would watch as Michael's world went up in flames. At the same time, Jason Morgan, haunted by regret, sat in his own hideaway, replaying the moment he realized Michael had slipped past security and returned to fetch a forgotten keepsake. His heart had pounded when he saw Michael stepping into the blast radius, and despite the careful deactivation he'd planned, he had no time to reach him. The explosion seared his vision, and he emerged from the smoke to drag Michael to safety, the memory seared into his bones. In the solemn hush that followed the rescue, he ordered underlings to scrub the bomb fragments, to erase every trace of his fingerprints. Jason swore on his honor that no one would ever know. Every clue pointed in different directions, deepening the mystery instead of resolving it. For Port Charles's residents, the unanswered question became a pulse beneath daily life: who among them had betrayed Sonny so decisively? Each suspect was armed with motive, means, and opportunity, and each had enough to lose that they might choose power over loyalty. And so, as detectives prepare to reconvene interviews, gather fresh forensics, and subpoena phone records anew, the smoke still curls around the hearts of those who dwell in Sonny's world. With each passing dawn, allegiances strain, whispers become threats, and the specter of retribution looms large. In a city defined by love, loss, and the relentless pursuit of power, the burning question remains: when the ashes settle, who will stand as victor, and who will be consumed by the flames they set? But the story doesn't end with unanswered questions. A fresh wave of revelation surges through Port Charles, igniting a final act of reckoning that will determine the fate of the Corinthos legacy. Detectives combed through forensic breakthroughs that morning, microscopic fragments of fabric fused with traces of accelerant, recovered from the scorched window frame. Those fibers matched the lining of the duffel bag found at Coral Court, the same one Jack Brennan claimed he left behind after delivering custom-made cabinets. Confronted with the evidence, Jack's calm facade cracked, sweat beaded at his brow as he recounted the evening's events. He had indeed carried a heavy bag, not furniture samples, but a toolkit given to him by an unknown ally. Jack's loyalties, tested by gratitude and resentment towards Sonny, had led him to unwitting participation until guilt spurred his confession. Meanwhile, Jen Sidwell's high-profile defamation suit against Deception magazine collapsed under pressure when her phone records revealed contact with a shadow operator known only as V, the same moniker abuzz among cybercrime units investigating Drew Kane's clandestine burner phone. The link suggested a broader conspiracy, one that transcended personal vendettas and pointed toward a syndicate determined to wrest control of Port Charles's underworld. As news outlets lit up with speculation, Jen slipped into hiding, her public bravado replaced by frantic calls to unknown associates. In the darkest corner of Kelly's basement, a battered thumb drive surfaced in the debris of Jason Morgan's secret cleanup operation. Tech teams extracted data revealing step-by-step instructions for rigging a time-delay device customized to the Penthouse's HVAC ductwork. The digital blueprint bore the watermark of a now-defunct crime syndicate once allied with Sonny. Jason, when confronted, delivered a confession that chilled the hearts of every Corinthos loyalist. He had once been their protector, but his devotion had curdled into ambition so potent that he believed only a new reign, his reign, could stabilize the family's future. His rationale, as stark as it was shocking, painted him as the tragic anti-hero, a man who vowed to save the legacy by burning it down. Amid the swirl of testimonies, the Penthouse's master switch, the nerve center for the pyrotechnic assault, was traced back to the Quartermain security grid. An encrypted message, unlocked by Brick's forensics team, revealed Drew Kane's fingerprints all over the command codes. Those same codes had been forwarded to Danny Morgan's burner phone mere hours before the explosion, implicating the younger Morgan in a supporting role he was too frightened to admit. Under oath, Danny explained he'd passed along the information at Drew's insistence, believing the plot would be a scare tactic rather than an act of mortal violence. As Port Charles reeled from this convergence of betrayals, Willow Corinthos stood at Sonny's bedside. His recovery had been miraculous, but the scars, both physical and emotional, ran deep. She recounted each confession: Jack's duffel of guilt, Jen's cyber alliances, Drew's legal subterfuge, and Jason's clandestine arsenal. With each revelation, Sonny's steely facade crumbled into lament for the family he thought unbreakable. Willow's gaze, once filled with unwavering faith for Drew, now glowed with fierce clarity as she recognized each betrayal for what it was. In the corridors of Port Charles General, the final interviews unfolded. Jack and Jens faced charges of arson, conspiracy, aiding and abetting. Danny Morgan and Drew Kane were indicted for accessory to attempted murder and racketeering, and Jason Morgan, in a breathtaking turn, was arrested under a hastily convened grand jury indictment for attempted murder and terrorism. The halls thrummed with disbelief, the myth of Jason Morgan, the unflappable guardian, forever fractured. Courtroom drama followed. Prosecutors unveiled the web of deceit with harrowing testimony from firefighters who survived the blast, lab technicians who isolated the drugged fibers from Michael's burns, and Willow herself, who took the stand to denounce Drew's betrayal. With each word, the gallery gasped, tears fell, and alliances shifted. When the gavel finally fell, verdicts were read, convictions that reshaped Port Charles's power landscape. In the aftermath, the Corinthos empire stood at a crossroads. Sonny, recovering from both body and trust, announced a restructuring. He would step back from day-to-day operations, handing the reins to a council comprised of trusted allies, his daughter, his wounded son, and a reformed Jack Brennan. Outside, Jason Morgan's mugshot plastered billboards warning that no one, not even a legend, was above the law. Yet in personal corners, healing began. Willow, freed from the weight of deception, stepped into a new role as advocate for victimized families, determined to ensure no one else would suffer in Port Charles's shadows. Michael, his faith in humanity scarred but unbroken, embraced his children with renewed devotion, building a home where trust could be rebuilt. And though Drew's ambition lay in smoldering ruins, even he found a path toward redemption, one that would require atonement far deeper than any courtroom sentence. When the embers finally cooled, Port Charles emerged both fractured and strengthened, its residents forever marked by a fire that tested their bonds and defined their destinies. In a city of endless intrigue, the Penthouse arson would go down in history as a catalyst for change, a reminder that in the heart of darkness, the brightest lights often emerge.